Hello there, and welcome to the Impact Zone podcast. We are back to talk more TNA wrestling shenanigans, and today I want to talk about how huge it would be if, and I want to stress if, TNA could get AJ Styles to wrestle at Bound for Glory. Not only would it be absolutely huge to have AJ on the card for Bound for Glory for TNA, because that's big, very big, because this is the guy, this is the face of TNA for all those years. Everything that TNA was probably in its prime and it's at its best what is associated with AJ, so he's the poster boy. It would be absolutely huge for TNA in terms of that, just in terms of that, let alone anything and everything else, let alone the potential, live gate that they could get from having an absolute megastar the level of AJ Styles, let alone the pay-per-view buys and subscriptions to TNA Plus, etc., whatever, that they could get. And those would be absolutely huge too. Like, I'm not 1,000% sure, but I think I looked and it's like maybe a 3K arena. If they got AJ, they'd definitely 100%, in my opinion, sell that show out. Now, I've lost count of how many shows that they have sold out, but I'm pretty sure it's every single pay-per-view for the last, 9 months has sold out. So that's insane. That is really insane. Like, they're on par with WWE and the number of sellouts that they're having. Yes, I know TNA is only selling out, 1 to 2,000 or whatever it is or whatnot and that sort of thing, or 2 and a bit thousand, 3 and a bit thousand over in Canada and whatnot, etc. They're not selling out the 10K, 100K, whatever that WWE and AEW are selling out. But still, they're selling out some, big arenas for them that they haven't been able to sell out for years and years and years. And this is without having, proper distribution of their own in terms of TV. And yes, perhaps that is somewhat due to the exposure of WWE, but whatever. It's certainly not 100% due to that, because they don't even promote the TNA pay-per-views on the WWE shows, so whatever. I don't think you can mark it down to that, because again, they don't market TNA's shows while TNA actually markets the WWE shows. And they probably don't even need to, because again, it's like, well, everyone knows what's going on in WWE, and people that are going to buy into it are going to buy into it. So, but it's not a lot of marketing. It's usually just saying, hey, our guy's going to be on NXT, No Mercy or whatever it is, whatever, that. I don't think WWE was saying that to say, hey, our guy from, Chase U is going to be on TNA Slammiversary, or whatnot, that sort of thing. So, but whatever. Again, thinking about how enormous it would be, I feel like they would shatter pretty much any record that they've had in terms of pay-per-view buys and, downloads to the TNA Plus app. And I think that would, really set TNA up into a different place And again, like we talked about, where is the level at which these pay-per-view buys and the level that there is interest in this product transfers over into the TV space or into the streaming space. Because again, if they had more distribution or whatever, like, there'd be hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people that would tune in to TNA, or even like close to a million people that would probably tune into TNA every week, you know, or even people that would join the TNA Plus app, or even whatever other app that, or whatever other streaming service they're on. They would get some very good numbers over there, and some very good revenue from those sorts of things. So just that level of exposure would give them more money to work with, and that would lend itself to being well worth, you know, out there and doing these sorts of things, lending these sorts of people. And that's why these YouTube streamers and these Twitch streamers and whatnot, giving them the ability to stream the show and whatnot is so valuable, because again, it gets more eyes onto the show that sort of can't really watch it, or don't really watch it, or haven't really watched it. And perhaps they'll watch their favorite streamer and they might not even know that it's even on, but they'll go, oh, okay, this is what my streamer thinks. Perhaps they won't watch it themselves, but at least they'll have that in their mind of saying, well, maybe if it comes to town or whatever, or maybe some point when I'm not watching whatever else I'm watching, I might check it out or whatever. That, again, those views, even if it's like, oh, wasn't the best, but I really enjoyed this or whatever, or I'd like to see that, like, even that constructive sort of criticism or constructive feedback or, whatever else is like, not negative. It should be seen as saying, well, you know, it is what it is, and again, it's, like, it's somewhat negative or whatever, but, you can only build from there. You can only build positives from there. You can't just keep dwelling in these like negatives. That's the problem with some of these people and whatnot. They dwell in the negatives of these sorts of things. No, you need to build from the positives of those things, but they need to actually be building those positives and getting into that direction. But anyway, again, that is where I think we would be at. I think if AJ appeared and was announced, or even was just announced for being at Bound for Glory, or even did a video promo or anything, or something that noted that he would be there having a match, and even just like you don't know who he's wrestling, it would be huge. Like, if we knew who it was, absolutely massive. Like, again, same thing as I said before. Like, there's an obvious story there to tell. Like, there's only a couple of things that would make any kind of sense for you to tell a story with any number of the wrestlers that are in that company. So there's only a handful of people that you can do a story with, and like, why would you pick, or I don't know, why would you pick somebody that, or why wouldn't you pick somebody that has the longest shelf life as far as being a TNA talent, or even as being a talent in the world of professional wrestling? So it comes then down to two, I would say. At least in my opinion. So, but then you start looking at like who really has the best, who would have the best individual story to go up against somebody of that caliber. It's incredibly tough because AJ's shadow, what he did and what he accomplished and what he represents and what he is, it's like John Cena in WWE. He defines a certain era in a sense. He really does. He defines that era of TNA. And it's hard to say that there is one person, but if you make one person to kind of defy it, or could you put someone to kind of defy it, it's like, well, that person then has to go on to really be that person after that. You can't put that person in this position and then go, oh, well, see you later next time, buddy. You've got to then do some more with that person. It is a question of where do you go from there in a sense, but it's like, well, we've established this. Now, there needs to be, something else. Perhaps more storytelling, more little things. How can we weave that in to building the next blocks, whatever? How much of an L or how much of a loss, I guess now we've got to cover this, would it be for them to not have him? I don't think it would be that big of a loss. But if you talk about how big of a win it would be, how good it would be, then you've got to look at how much difference it would make. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, those are kind of the highest of highs when you're talking about if this happens. If it doesn't happen, I still think it'll be a really good show. I think it'll be well attended by the TNA faithful. I'm pretty sure it will sell out still. I'm pretty sure they'll do some okay pay-per-view buys. This is the biggest show of the year. This is, going to do a decent gate. Probably, again, as I said, sell out. They're probably not going to get that many TNA Plus subscribers, but maybe they will. Who knows? But I'm probably sure it'll get some TNA Plus buys on the app and whatnot as well. So it's not going to be that bad, but it is going, in comparison, like I would say, adding AJ at least doubles, if not triples, whatever interest, whatever number of buys, whatever number of subscriptions, or whatever else is there for the TNA Plus app, etc., that you would probably get without him. So yeah, I don't know whether that's a little bit of hyperbole or overhype or whatever, but I do think that AJ inherently carries a lot of value, especially right at this point where we are now. So looking at things in that regard, I feel like he would carry quite a lot of weight and quite a lot of interest, buys, merchandise, attendances, etc. All that sort of stuff. So definitely, I think at least twice as much, if not 3 times as much, maybe even more than that. I don't know. Maybe I'm underselling it even. I don't know. But I don't want to try to guess, but it is one of those things that if they don't have him, they won't have a bad show. They won't have a bad number of buys. They won't have a bad gate or whatever. They're doing good gates. They have been doing good gates. It looks like the floor seating is sold out. There's just general admission left, which is, most of the seats, honestly. But still, again, they've sold out like at least most of like half of those seats too. So that's still pretty decent, as well. And the pay-per-view buys, TNA Plus downloads and whatnot, or buys on TNA Plus, probably haven't gone very much up. But like when it comes close to the day or whatever, I think that there will be a lot more on the day purchases and whatnot and things like that, or within that day. But yeah, like I definitely think that it would be double as much, 3 times as much, whatever. But certainly without him, they won't die without him. That's the thing. Like, they will keep going along and they'll do their best with what they've got and try to make it work and whatnot, I guess. But again, it would certainly really ignite things a lot more for them, I think, to have that. So that's where I'm at with that. I keep trying to talk about this sort of thing, I guess, because I want to analyze it, I guess, in some regards, as sort of just this fantasy that we all kind of have, or at least most of us probably kind of have. I don't know, dude. This is what it means to us. We talk about it. We'll go out of our way to talk about it because that's what it means to us. It means so much to us, just to say thank you to this guy and show him, what he meant to us and carried that. And he's the guy that carried the flag for us, being the face of the company, and whatnot. The literally the house that AJ built in many ways. So yeah, this is our passion too, and whatnot. So yeah, and is it a reward for us? Yes, that would be nice, but are we gonna die? No, like it's not gonna kill us not to have it, but isn't that what you do this for? Like to serve the fans, I don't know. That's what I think it is, in some regards. And, but yeah, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this one. Let me know, is there anything else that you could consider, as far as like giving TNA that really big shot in the arm that would do this? I don't think that there's hardly anything else like this. So yeah, I think that this is the big dub or the big swing and a miss, probably. And as I said before, it's sort of like lowering those expectations. Don't want to be too expectant, but kind of hopeful. So, but yeah, I do hope something comes out. But as I said, how much can we hope for? And we wish we could hope for a lot, but we don't know. So, but anyway, hope you guys will join me again in another one, and hope we can keep building TNA up, even if the all the ducks don't get in a line.